All right, let's transition to some defense here. So, Nate, how about you kick off the defensive takeaways here?
I mean, man, you're talking about the second team defensive line versus the first team Bears offensive line, and them just always feeling like it was in the face of Andy Dalton. It felt like the entire first half. And I went through on our podcast last night. I went through all the drive summaries, and it was basically like punt, punt, fumble, punt, interception, turnover on downs, and then there was that long touchdown against Saran Neal, and then it was like punt, end of half. Like that's how all of those. And if that was a regular game, first stringers versus first stringers, you'd think that was an amazing first half. And the fact that it was the second team, I mean, you got to be excited about, AJ Epinesa, which Justin and you guys mentioned earlier. Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham got in the mix this time. He looked great. Ed Oliver was still playing today. I mean, Harrison Phillips looked good as well until he got the injury. I mean, this team, you know, everything kind of goes with the disclaimer that it's the preseason. You don't want to get too high, you don't want to get too low on guys or your team. But man, it's hard to temper the enthusiasm at this point about not only Greg Rousseau but how this team is fitting together and what it could look like for the future, even after this season.
Yeah, it's funny because I went out to a bar last night right across from my street, and I was talking to this guy who approached me because I was wearing a Bills shirt, and I'm in Rochester, so plenty of Bills fans here. And we, just normal conversation. Random person comes up to you, talk to the Bills. Happens all the time. And he's he tells me like, "Hey man, what do you think about that game on Saturday? Like the D line looks pretty good." I was like, "It it has to be good. Like there's no there's no other option for like Brandon Beane's tossed in draft capital and a lot of money in it. There's only two ways you can get good in a specific area in the NFL, and that's drafting really well, hitting on those picks, and putting money towards it. Brandon Beane double dipped. So I thought I thought what I saw was a return on investment, and maybe some foreshadowing on some hits. So I was very pleased with how the defensive line looked, and in general, I thought the run defense, specifically from the front four, looked very, very good too.
So for me, anybody that listens to this show knows that I'm kind of team coverage over team pass rush. And the way it's looking so far is kind of making me feel like I might be on the wrong side of that fence. I mean, the Bears couldn't get anything done through the air if you take away that one bomb they had. But I'm usually of the approach that with the NFL and how it's going, the quarterbacks are getting the ball out of their hands so fast that having the top flight pass rush might not always really get home for you anyways. The way they look right now, they're affecting the quarterback on damn near every play. And, it's not like we had first team all pros out there in the secondary playing in that game. And just how fast they were able to get home, how fast they were able to get Andy Dalton, Justin Fields to be throwing the ball. The coverage on the back end wasn't really something that I was able to look at too much this game because the ball was coming out so fast and so affected by the defensive line that Wild Goose looked like he struggled in the first week to me. He looked like a decent corner in this game, so I'm still going to be more team coverage right now, but my needle's kind of swaying the other way based on how our defensive line was affecting the passing game this game.